Osiris.
What's going on? It's Isaac, your pal from Inappropriate Happiness, back with another week of fun for you and for us. It's really fun for us. And with me, it's the earliest she has ever been awake, Karina Rykman.
What's up, 10 a.m.? How we doing? Hi, Isaac. It's a terrific thing to be recording this with you this morning here at Inappropriate Happiness HQ, dude.
You know, I joke about it being the earliest you've ever been awake, but last week you were actually up and out the door quite early, sleeping even less.
Were you shocked?
I was delighted, actually. It was really fun to see you in full swing with your Seth Meyers gig, and then to watch you on TV right here on this couch.
What a beautiful thing. I mean, crazy. It's funny, you know, you get so worked up for these dates on the calendar, right? And you're like, holy shit, what? You know, and you have to learn a whole new method and system of doing things and meet 100 new people. And, you know, I was nervous. I am not going to lie to you. I was a wreck for the first day or two there. And, not because it was particularly demanding in any way. It was just like, it just felt so new and I wanted to kill it so hard. You know what I mean? Like, which I've been known to like get nervous about things that like I really want to like, you know, put my best foot forward at. And
how you described it is that while it might not be demanding, it's very particular in terms of what it asks of you.
Wildly. And you have to be very aware of just this whole new system where it's, the minutia of it is so wild, you know, and everybody has these jobs and everybody knows what's happening and everybody is pro to a T, you know, and it's just a wild thing. It's like a small city and you're watching all these little pieces come together where, you know, there's the guy with the cue card that says 3 minutes and then 1 minute and then 30 seconds and then boom, you're on, you know, or whatever. And Seth Meyers himself and the consummate professional. I don't know how he does it, you know, just on point, unbelievable. And the band, you know, we're just waiting for our cue to do our thing, you know, and you're there with your in-ears in, getting, you know, prompted by the musical director in real time. So you could be watching Danny DeVito speak, but in your ears, you're listening to somebody telling you what song, quote unquote, you're about to play. Very fascinating shit, Isaac. Very fascinating and wildly dialed in. But I would say by the end there, I felt very dialed myself, which is great. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. It was so fun. It was just like, I love show businessy shit like that, you know?
Well, Inappropriate Happiness is a show of the auditory persuasion. But those of you who are listening should know that Karina is wearing a shirt from the Late Night with Seth Meyers. And you told a story to me about your mom's visit to the show.
Isaac, you are on point this morning, my guy. Yes. So on the Wednesday, which was my middle day, I was very lucky. You know, the first day I didn't have a guest to come to the show just because I didn't know I was allowed to have them. But then they were like, yeah, if you want people to come like in the studio audience, please. So on the Wednesday, my longtime drummer, Chris Corsico came, which was fantastic, and he saw Danny DeVito. And then on the Thursday, my mother came to the show, which was so fantastic, and she, along with my boyfriend, and the two of them sat in the audience, so cute. And at the end of the show, there's like the warm-up comic who's throwing Seth Meyers t-shirts into the audience, right? And, you know, I thought it was hilarious because it's a little bit out of character for my mother to just want like the grab bag, you know, t-shirt from something like that. But of course, I told her that afterwards. She's like, it's not out of character. You were on the show. It's fucking awesome. And I was like, oh, right, that's true. I was on the show. Okay. But she basically, made herself very apparent to the warm-up comic being, standing up and making it very clear that she wanted this t-shirt. So he throws the t-shirt, and the story goes that my mother leapt into the air and barreled down a couple of people. Not really, but a little bit. And, everybody was like, wow, nice catch, and she was like, yeah. She's never been so stoked about a t-shirt in her life. And then that prompted us to, I saw her, and me and the producer, Eric, I was like, oh, that's my mom up there. And he was like, oh my God. And we took her down. We did a photo shoot on the, the Seth Meyers couch and desk. It was a wholesome, excellent time. So it's amazing to be visited at work, if you will.
I mean, that's a really cool thing to get to go to see your loved one do.
Totally, and she was wildly into it, which was very cool. And I was stoked to have her there. It was so fun and amazing. And then we walked to Bryant Park and drank some waters and chatted, and it was just a really fun New York kind of thing to do. It's a very touristy thing to do. So us lifelong New Yorkers, we've never done it per se. And everybody else there is it's like, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Kansas. I'm from Florida. You know what I mean? But my mom's she's not, she's lived here for a very long time, So it was fun for her to just sort of see something like that, which she kind of hasn't, So that was cool.
Well, speaking of hanging out with your mom in Rockefeller Center.
Oh, yeah.
Last Thursday, your last night on Seth Meyers, I took my mom to go see the Doobie Brothers at Radio City Music Hall.
Dude.
Right around the corner from where you taped.
And how the hell was that?
Well, you're talking about touristy experiences, and I think my mom felt a little bit like a tourist to the event because she grew up with the music of the Doobie Brothers. She talks about her parents listening to it. But when I was like, hey, Mom, do you want to go see the Doobie Brothers? She was kind of like, sure. It wasn't like, oh, my God, my favorite band.
Right. And it wasn't like, oh, Mom, I got these Doobie Brothers tickets because I know you love the Doobie Brothers.
Right.
You scored these tickets knowing that you wanted to go, and you were like, yo, maybe my mom would enjoy this.
Exactly.
Sure.
And I think we really both liked it quite a bit. It was the 50th anniversary tour for the Doobie Brothers.
Dude, that is no small number.
Michael McDonald is back in the band. He sings backups on Peg, the Steely Dan song. You may know him from his solo music, and he's made some wonderful contributions to the Doobie Brothers and other classic yacht rock-esque music over the years.
Can you even imagine seeing the Doobies without him?
No, that would be very weird.
He, to me, as sort of, a quasi-tourist to the Doobie Brothers, being born many years later, he strikes me as sort of the glue who holds it all together.
Well, my mom said that it would be like a bunch of side dishes without an entree to see them without Michael McDonald.
I like the way
right.
she put that.
She also said they're like the kettle corn of music, which I think is really astute, and I'm not sure what it means, but it's right. They are the kettle corn of music in a way.
I love that.
We love kettle corn.
We do love. Yeah, there's no shade here. This is pure. This is a kettle corn. Loving posse right here. So that's super interesting. And obviously, seeing anything at Radio City Music Hall to me is a treat. It's a beautiful room. You want to be there, and I think that's a great act to see there. Actually.
Well, just a few other notes from the show. It was being taped for PBS, Public Broadcasting, which is just I think that's a fun detail about it. It was surprisingly upbeat. There were zero ballads. I mean, there were slower songs, but everything had a pretty driving pulse, which I thought was pretty interesting for an act of their sort.
People celebrating their 50th anniversary. Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
Right. And my last comment on this, because we should really move on. They have a song that they play ninth in the set list called Clear as the Driven Snow from their 1972 album, The Captain and Me.
Wow.
And boy, oh boy, was it clear as the driven snow. They really brought the house down with this cut.
Holy shit.
It's definitely a highlight of the evening. So if you're listening and you go, oh yeah, the Doobie Brothers, listen to the music and Long Train Runnin', I wonder what else they've written. Check out Clear as the Driven Snow. It is a very strange song. I really enjoyed it. And that just about wraps it up for me. But you returned to this venue just a night later.
I did, but Isaac, were you the youngest person there by 20 years?
Oh, I mean, this was
30?
a very extreme instance of being the youngest person at a show.
Maybe 40. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, it seems like this was you were one of the the younger folks in maybe a 50-mile radius. No, just kidding.
But it's really nice to see people of all ages and, of all. I mean, it would kind of be a different thing to see this show in an outdoor amphitheater in a different part of the country because I don't know. It seemed like there were people who were like kind of coming out of live music retirement to go check this out.
Sure.
And I know they do a lot of like co-headlining tours with like Santana and Earth, Wind and Fire. That would probably be a different vibe. But this was definitely an Upper West Side PBS watching crowd checking out the Doobie Brothers.
Seems that way. And that is just great. That is
absolutely
fantastic.
Absolutely.
Love it. Well, I'm so glad you were there. I'm not going to lie to you, Isaac. I did return to Radio City Music Hall the very next night. This is Friday night. Different scene, different crowd. The band is Phoenix. They're from France. And it was a really awesome thing. I was super stoked about it. I felt, I was definitely not the youngest person there. And the music was so captivating and the show was so captivating. It was like, it looked beautiful. They sort of had these frames of, LED screens that they both were submerged in and could stand on. Like the drummer was on top of sort of these frames. I'm describing it strangely because it's hard to describe. It was just really beautiful, and everything was sort of projection mapped or whatever, it was like these video walls basically, and it corresponded to every tune. Sometimes it was like crazy abstract rainbow waves, and sometimes it was like it started out in the middle of the universe, and then it slowly zoomed in on the earth, and then through the clouds, and then through the trees, and then into a person, and then into the person's bloodstream and into their DNA, and then it just vibrated out into obscurity. Or infinity, rather. Anyway, very cool look of the show, and the band played their absolute asses off. It was super engaging the entire time. There was not a moment of the show where I was like, I could piss right now. You know what I mean? I was just like captivated the entire time. Excellent songs, excellent look, just really a beautiful night of music and super fun indie rock dance party vibes.
That's very cool. I never had a Phoenix phase,
yeah.
But I've always respected them and liked what I've heard. And maybe now's my time.
Your brother had a big Phoenix phase.
He actually took my mom to go see Phoenix at the Apollo Theater.
Is that right?
Yeah.
There you go. Dude, your mom makes the rounds. Dude.
I know. Phoenix, Doobie Brothers.
So great. It's funny when I think of Phoenix, I sort of do think of your brother enjoying the music.
Oh, that's really sweet.
Yeah, and I, for really good reason, because honestly, he sort of looks like he belongs in the band as well. Like your brother could play absolutely any instrument in this band, and it would just look the part. I know that sounds funny, but if you saw them, you'd see what I mean.
I know what you mean.
They have the same hair as him, the same look as him, and he would just like blend right in. Very, very cool. Really enjoyable, and just like it honestly made me come home and think like, oh, like I could sort of write music like this, you know what I mean? Like there was something about it that was captivating to me where it's just like energetic, pop tinged, rock and roll dance music, like very, very cool. I don't know. I was really into it, and I'm very glad I went. And then the next day, Isaac, I returned to full form playing hippie festivals once again after a week on Seth Meyers. Doing the opposite of playing hippie festivals.
Well, this was just no regular, hippie festival.
Tell
right?
the people what it
was. This is the 30th installment of Camp Creek, the Max Creek Festival.
That is so correct. And it's such an interesting thing because, like, Max Creek, right? I bet you most people listening to this have no idea who Max Creek are. But the people who are listening to this and do know probably fucking love Max Creek. It's a very interesting thing. Another band celebrating, their 50th year as a band.
Yeah, I mean,
if not over,
they
like
have
52nd.
Been around a sneaky long time.
It's out of control, right? And they really stole my heart. I'm, of course, younger than the anniversary of their festival, right? So, like, I am not a Max Creek aficionado in any way. Actually, and I'm a little embarrassed to say, because you know what? If you name to me most jam bands from the early day, like, I bet you I could name you at least a song. I'm going to admit to you, Isaac, I can't name you a Max Creek song. Can't name you one. So, which usually is not the case for me. I feel like I've at least done a bit of a dive, if peripheral or otherwise. So, I was a stranger to the vibe, and they welcomed me with such open arms, and it was such a beautiful time. This is in Bozrah, Connecticut, a place I had never been. And it's sort of on, like, this campgrounds on a lake. People are on floaties and kayaks and, like, raging in the lake while you're playing. There's, like, you're playing on this, like, sandy beach, basically, on a stage, which was just a delight. And it had such a homegrown family atmosphere that was super endearing and lovely. Everyone who worked there could not have been more delightful. And we got up there and played our asses off right before the aforementioned Max Creek, which was super fun on Saturday. Played 75 minutes of glory. I jumped down into the audience with my bass, my wireless bass, at some point, and, raged in the crowd with the people. It just seemed like the thing to do. And our friends in Melt and Michaela Davis's band played on Thursday night. It was just the two bands, right? And everybody reported back that they just had the best time as well. And Veronica, the singer of the band Melt, during their encore, went into said lake with her clothes on and then came back up on stage soaking wet. And everybody, like, freaked the fuck out, and it was a super rock and roll moment. Wish I could have been there to see that. That is super amazing. And I talked to some people in the audience being like, it was so amazing to have Melt, Michaela, and you on this year's lineup. Like, not only a strong female presence, but just a young exuberance at this festival. Like, we're so happy that you all were here, And that means a lot, and those are my peers and my friends and our peers and friends. And it's just, like, really cool to see all of us on this festival, with this band that's, twice our age, have been doing it forever. And we have such respect for them, because they have been doing this for such a long time. And it's just really nice that they had us. So that was very, very fun. And I made an announcement on stage, for the record. I was like, after, like, halfway through the show, I was like, hey, guy, I mentioned that I was on NBC all week and that I had to learn this whole, like, sort of new code of ethics and how to, be on television and all this stuff. And it was super, like, exact and very dialed in. And all the, I met all these people and they were like, where did you come from? And I was like, I play hippie festivals, motherfucker. And all the crowd went wild. And I was like, thank you for welcoming me back to my roots,
Oh, totally.
Which
and
was
I mean,
awesome.
In a world where the music festival scene and concerts in general, there's such a plethora, and even at times you could say an oversaturation and new things that are trying to sort of sprout up, and God bless it all.
Oh, yeah.
But it's amazing to see a festival where, like you're saying, like Max Creek, it's such a kind of particular act, and the people who really care and pay attention are there every year. And the lineup and the marketing for this isn't supposed to be sort of blasting people out of their seats.
Sure.
But at the same time, they're paying attention to important up and coming bands. They are keeping with this tradition, and they are kind of emphasizing atmosphere and good spirit and the enjoyment of camping and live music
Yeah,
and
it was
scenery
super cute.
and environment. It's like, that's just like, I don't know, like you said, like bringing you back to your roots. Like, I don't know, I feel like that is kind of like low key a place that you and I really come from with this, like growing up and seeing things like that and being like, oh, this is such an important component of the live music world and of the world in general.
In a huge way, and it really came across that way.
I bring things to a place of the world in general too often. Just like, and it's also the world.
And also the world. But really, I mean...
yeah, it's like...
it either is or should be.
Yeah,
most of the time. No, I'm with you. And it was, one fun element. Like, I met this kid... He's probably like a little bit younger than me, who basically was giving me the lay of the land. He told me that his dad has seen over 1,000 Max Creek concerts. And I said, over 1,000, really? I was like definitely 500 plus. He's like, 500 plus? Are you kidding me? Like, yes, like over 1,000. And I was like, holy shit. Like, that's a lot, And anyway, and he was really cool. And it was just nice of him, who's been kind of taken to these things as a literal baby, to probably like, I don't know, he's probably 20, 22, I don't know. And it was cool to get the lay of the land from him, and for him to just be like, dude, thanks for coming to our small family festival, and like, he basically said there are probably 1,500 people in the world who love Max Creek, but boy, do they fucking love Max Creek. And I was like, man, that's just really awesome. And I love things like that. It's so niche and so interesting on a musicological, anthropological standpoint, and it was really great. It was really great. So thank you, Camp Creek and Max Creek fans, for welcoming me back from the world of television to the world of the hippie festival. That was a blast.
Well, in a very different way, I also took in something that was musically and anthropologically very interesting on Saturday night.
Tell me right now.
I went to the UBS Arena on Long Island, made a triumphant return. I've been there quite a bit these days. And I saw a band called Ghost.
Dude.
And a band called Mastodon.
Roots run so deep for us with these bands. I'm so happy you were there. I'm so wildly jealous that I didn't get to see this. I'll tell you right now. So thank God one of us was there. And we've mentioned Ghost a little bit on this podcast.
Yeah, we talked about the announcement of this tour a little bit.
Sure. But tell the people, I mean, we have been seeing this band since they were playing the Music Hall of Williamsburg, which is 500 people, right?
Yeah.
And now they're headlining arenas.
Well, I think part of the context that we spoke about them in was that, metal as a kind of genre or category of music lacks up-and-coming headliners.
I would certainly agree, and I think it's one of the more unfortunate things, because I am such a fan of the genre, and I want it to live forever, and I think that it provides sort of this amazing haven of protection and like a home for people that feel maybe, they like a bit of disillusionment, or they don't belong, or whatever. Like, there's a real family vibe within this genre that I felt so strongly as a kid and still feel, and I love just this aggressive music, all encompassing. It's like a body feeling. It's an amazing thing, and I want it to live forever. And you're right, we are lacking younger headliners,
Well, I also think, with the conditions of disillusionment,
yeah,
kind of ever changing.
100%.
The genre needs to shift in its ways to meet the disillusionment of today.
100%.
And Ghost has done that, because they are not kind of what someone might think of when they think of metal, although the kind of vibe of and sound of the metal of yesteryear is certainly present in their music.
Sure.
It has kind of je ne sais quoi of its own. And did I use that right?
You sure did, babe.
Okay. And it verges on glam, it verges on pop, it's very theatrical, And but one of the qualities of the metal music that I grew up listening to and others did, that they have really reinstated and driven to a new place, is the caliber of live performance.
Sure.
They are an incredible live band. Really, like, breathtaking, the way that they perform their songs live, the general atmosphere that they create. The stage show is, extravagant and beautiful and exciting and powerful without being over the top somehow. And, we love Mastodon, but they blew Mastodon off the stage. Like,
wow.
They are the rightful headliners of arena rock. Long may they live and play. And I was just, like, inspired by this show.
Incredible. And blown away.
Oh, like you said, we saw them in clubs, and they had a kind of, it was obscure, and it was fun, and it was novel, and it was neat, and, I'm kind of rooting for them, in that kind of way. And now it's like a whole sort of other, level where they just have the audience in the palm of their hands in this amazing way. And it was, a full moon, a harvest moon. Yeah. I guess a harvest moon is it different than a full moon?
I feel like that's way more up your alley than mine.
It was a harvest moon. That I can tell you for sure. And Papa Emeritus, the frontman of Ghost, said, it's a harvest moon. Let's all go crazy together. And that is exactly what we did. It was just very cathartic in the way that metal should be, inspiring in the way that live music should be, and just exciting.
Incredible. And we beg, beseech, and implore you, if you don't know what we're talking about when we say Ghost, go look them up, because you know what? Ghost has, that a lot of bands don't, really spectacular songs.
Yes.
Spectacular, really well produced, really, just what can you say? Great songs. And songs make the band, baby. And they fucking sound amazing. So you should do yourself a favor. Look up Ghost. Go see him. Go see him with Mastodon. Also, come on now. We love Mastodon. And though they were opening sort of for Ghost on this go-around, those gentlemen are near and dear to me heart, and I'm so jealous you got to see them as well.
Oh yeah, no shade to Mastodon.
Incredible.
If the Mastodon had ended the night, I would have been satisfied. But
sure. Ghost, man.
Yeah, really an elevated experience, and it's just been an embarrassment, a plethora of riches this week in New York City for live music, because we the next night went to go see Pearl Jam together at Madison Square Garden.
Oh my God, bringing a whole new meaning to Never Miss a Sunday show.
Well, I was thinking, maybe we should just stop the presses, because I don't even know, usually on the show we banter with each other, talk about our experiences of music and make each other laugh, and that's all good. But this show deserves something even sort of more.
Totally.
How do you even put words to what Pearl Jam is and what they did on Sunday at the Garden?
It's so extreme. It's such an extreme example of spectacular live performance, having the audience in the palm of your hand, having a 30-year career of just, it's absolutely incredible what they've done, the songs they've written, the gusto with which they get up there, the fact that they went on at 9 o'clock and played until 11:30 straight, not a break, playing covers by Prince, the Dead Boys. It was one of the most spectacular shows I can remember. And they hadn't played the Garden since 2016.
Correct.
Which you and I were both at as well together.
That's an important point.
And the way we love the band, and the way everyone loves the band, and the way that ticket was one of the hardest New York tickets I can remember in a long time, right? People were pouring over themselves trying to get in the door for this, and for good reason. There was not an empty seat in the house. There was not a bad seat in the house. And their lack of production, by the way, that band could have literally dragons flying around the stage if they wanted to. It's not like they're, light in the pockets. You know what I'm trying to say? And they basically have an extremely stripped down light show for the magnitude of what the band is, and they're these dudes who get up there, play the fuck out of their instruments, play all the songs that you know and love from forever, and they don't need those bells and whistles. It's such a compelling part of the show that they don't have an extravagance to them, you know, in that regard.
Totally. No, and like, I will tell a kind of personal anecdote.
Please.
When I started to go see live music, I heard of like the lore of Pearl Jam, and I was like, you know, really, these are like the first concerts I went to go see. Or didn't get to go see. That's the real kicker. So they played 2 nights at the Garden in 2008, and I was like home. It was the summer, and I was like, oh, I just started to go to concerts. Like, I have to go see Pearl Jam, right? They're like considered one of the most amazing live acts of all time. And I was doing all kinds of things trying to get to this show because I didn't really know what was going on. I was calling people on Craigslist. I was like going to like tickets.com, like trying to figure it out to no avail. I mean, I didn't get into the shows, but it kind of was an eye-opening moment to be like, wait, it cost how much to scalp a ticket to the back row of this show? Like, what? Like, what happens at these shows that is like so compelling to people to have this high of a demand? And have fortunately gotten to see them since then. But being shut out of those shows was a big moment for me in terms of, you know, calibrating to the way live music works and what Pearl Jam's all about. And like you said, there's minimal production, and they just play their hearts out for 2.5 hours, which is kind of short for them. I mean, they're stripping it back a little bit for this tour, but like, wow.
Unbelievable. Words barely do it justice too, right? It's like one of those things. We all, and by the way, Isaac will be going to the city of brotherly love to see this band this week. He can't get enough, baby.
Well, it's a funny thing because like I walked out of the show and I was like, how am I supposed to go see them again? Because this was so perfect, but like at the same time, you kind of want to go see them again.
I mean, desperately. It's fucked up. It's like, what? You can't get enough. It's the perfect drug.
And they take a real hint out of the Bruce Springsteen ethos in a lot of different ways.
Big time.
Eddie and Bruce love each other. But the way that their set list is configured is such that there are songs you will get every night, like Even Flow and Alive. But there are other songs that are major songs in their catalog that they won't play every night, like Rearview Mirror, which we did get on Sunday, and songs like Jeremy and Black, which we didn't get on Sunday. And then they also have just songs that they are on this tour, you know, playing quite frequently. And those are, you know, sort of hand-selected by them. And so it creates a kind of show that's not quite like Fish, where it's like, whatever will they play next? But it's also not like a standard, you know, 15, 12 song set list where you know they're going to be playing the same thing every night.
Which is a really cool way to do it. It just is. And nothing but respect and, you know, just admiration for these guys and what they've done and what they've created. And that feeling all day of just like, holy shit, we're going to see Pearl Jam. Like, I don't even know. It's just crazy. And the night before, they played one of those, Sirius XM presented shows at the Apollo Theater, which are, of course, I mean, very small. Very small. Cannot stress that enough. So everyone who got to be there, holy shit, congratulations. I can't even envisage what that looks like. And for the record, you know, I sort of wish we were taping this tomorrow, Isaac, because I am going to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers at the Apollo tonight in the same fashion. And man, I'm sure I'm going to have a lot to say about that. It's one of my favorite bands of all time. One of most people's favorite bands of all time.
No, that's really super cool. And I did get a report from the Pearl Jam show at the Apollo that usually they have a standby list. And when Guns N' Roses did the same thing, 100 people got off the standby list and got into the show.
Holy shit.
And in this Pearl Jam instance,
nope,
maybe 3.
Wow.
And there was a line around the block, and I imagine it'll be the same way for the Chili Peppers. So
unbelievable.
Apollo Theater, Sirius XM, you're making dreams come true for a lot of people. And dreams fade away for a lot of people who don't get into these shows.
I consider myself very lucky to have a ticket to tonight's show. I just don't even know. It's a crazy thing, and we're coming to the end of our road here. But before we really wrap things up, would be remiss to not mention the fact that I saw St. Vincent open for Roxy Music last night. It really has been a plethora of riches, Isaac. I mean, unbelievable. Back to the Garden. Amazing. I'm a big St. Vincent fan. This crowd was clearly there for Roxy Music and not for her, which was interesting because I've seen her headline sort of so much, it feels like, and seeing people eat out of the palm of her hand, And last night she really kind of had to win him over in this way that was interesting for an act that I think of as so having already won us all over, you know what I mean? And so she went into the crowd for her song New York, and started picking up children and singing to them and putting her arms around people, and then everybody started standing up and getting way into it. She really, it's sort of an episode about being a good fucking frontman in a good live act.
I was going to say, it's kind of about professionalism in these different ways. Crazy. And if that means you're Eddie Vedder and you're doing a 2.5-hour show where there's not a person in there who isn't hung on every word, or you're Papa Emeritus from Ghost and everybody is wildly compelled by the performance and seeing you go from, a small club act to an arena act, and he's barking at the harvest moon and beseeching everyone to do the same. Or you're St. Vincent, having to win over an older Roxy Music crowd and figuring out how to do that in the moment and doing it with real style and grace. It's an inspiring thing, Isaac. It's unbelievable. It's cool. It's just cool to see music in all these different forms that they take and how people approach it. And, at the end of the day, people are creating environments for themselves and for us, and for the consumer, and for, it's just a moment of suspension where we can exist in these different spaces and enjoy life and sound and togetherness. And it's such an interesting thing to see how everybody does it differently. And by the way, Brian Ferry, Roxy Music, did the exact same shit, and it was amazing, but everyone was there for them. And, there was not this sort of push and pull moment of having to win them over. They were already right.
won.
They probably had it pretty easy.
Yeah, they had it pretty easy. But that
being said, right, 50-year career,
dude, you're 76 years old.
It's wild.
Unbelievable.
Wild.
Unbelievable. So basically, all I'm trying to say is we love live music.
Right. No, we have a lot to live up to on this podcast.
Jesus.
We have to do, pay respect to these bands and they set the bar so high.
And so much care and craft and attention and also free-spiritedness and freewheeling and thinking on your feet and just it was an inspiring week of music in all these ways, being on NBC, being at the Hippie Festival, seeing performers such as Phoenix, Brian Ferry, Eddie Vedder, Matt Cameron. Sorry, what the fuck is even up with that guy on the kit? He is the best. I mean, it's been a great week of music, Isaac, and I'm glad we got to see so much of it together.
Well, to the other professionals that make sure our show sounds good,
shout out Brian Brinkman. What are you even up to, dude? Thank you for putting us on. Shout out to RJB, the Osiris Media Network. What is going on? We love you so much. Thank you for making it all happen. Dude. Thanks for taking us to the end of our road here, Osiris. And, Inappropriate Happiness, we love you, baby.
We absolutely love you, baby.
Thank you for tuning in. And, Isaac, do you have any parting words for the people?
We hope you feel inspired by the power of music as well.
Well put, my friend.
May it inspire you to keep it 100 in your own lives.
100% of the time. Take care, everyone.
Talk to you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
I've been jumping turnstiles. Osiris.